Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here today. Hi, Rye. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. Good morning, Killian. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Hey, Teddy. How was your weekend?
It was awesome. Thanks. How's
Good.
yours?
Hey, Remy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. And hi, Logan. How are you today? Perfect. Great. I'm so glad to hear everyone's doing so well. So, thanks for joining me today in Algebra 1. So, to get us started today, we're going to go ahead and do a little check in. Last time you guys were here, we did a little bit of pre algebra. And I just want to see how confident are you feeling about solving equations today? So, if you guys don't mind using the chat button, in the bottom right corner, if you could, on a scale of 1 to 5, just tell me how you're feeling about solving equations. 1 being not great at all, and 5 being very, very good, very confident. So I will just wait until I see your chats coming in. Perfect. All right, perfect. I see lots of answers, mostly on the 4s and 5s. That's great. Okay, perfect. All right. So what we're going to do today is this is our agenda overview, all right? And what I would like to do is I would like to like for you guys to unmute and take turns reading each of the boxes. So Rye, I'm going to start with you. Would you mind reading box number 1, the bell ringer box?
Bell ringer. A quick review with the timer.
Perfect. Thank you. And then let's see. Killian, would you mind doing the second one, the lesson focus?
Lesson focus. Ones of equations, addition and subtraction.
Perfect. And then Teddy, would you mind unmuting and reading the guided practice box there for us?
Guided practice. Working through problems together.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. And then we have Remy. Do you mind reading the engagement activity box for us?
Engagement activity, summary of learning, and it'll be used on the whiteboard.
Perfect. Thank you. And then last but not least, Logan, could you read that last box for us? Perfect. Thank you. Okay, great. So you guys can kind of see how our lesson is going to flow today. We're going to start with a little bell ringer, and then I'll do a little bit of a teaching lesson. And then you guys are going to get some practice with me and then one on your own. And then, of course, we'll go over your homework and your exit ticket. All right. Any questions about the agenda before we move to the next slide? I see no's. Okay, perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and I'll flip to the next slide. All right, this is a bell ringer, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game, and this game is called a chat chase. So the question that I want you guys to think about is, what is the inverse, or inverse also meaning opposite, operation of addition? Now, the way the chat chase works is don't hit enter until I say go. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to think about it. And then when I say go, you guys are all going to have hit the enter button. And then we're going to have a winner at the end. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 30 seconds. And you guys think about it. So what is the opposite operation of addition? That's what we're thinking about. And if we don't need 30 seconds, if you guys already have your answer and you just want to give me like a thumbs up in your video, that would be great. And that way I'll know that we're ready to move on. Okay, perfect. I'm waiting on a couple of others. Okay, wonderful. All right, let's do about 5 more seconds. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Hit enter. Oh, Teddy, perfect. Great, you guys all got it right. So Teddy, you are my chat chase winner. Will you unmute pretty please and tell me what is the opposite operation of addition?
The opposite operation of addition is subtraction.
Perfect. Yes. Great. That is going to be very important when we jump into our lesson, so that you guys are able to solve these equations. Thank you guys for playing the game. Okay, so what we're going to go over really quickly before we jump into the actual lesson part is just a few pacing reminders. So I pulled this directly from your course. As a reminder, your syllabi are in there and you guys can pull this up and follow along with me. So up to this point, you guys should have completed all of the following lessons. The assignments and quizzes that go with those should be done, okay? So all of those should be completed by now. So if you don't have those done, make sure you go back and submit those as soon as you can. All right, so now that's what we've covered. Here is where we are. And you can see that we're going to spend about 3 days on this topic, three different lessons. And then this is a pretty big unit. And so you can see we're going to spend quite a bit of time. And so looking ahead, we're going to spend probably close to a week, maybe a week and a half on linear equations, okay? So does anybody have any questions about the pacing before we jump into the actual lesson? I see shaking of the heads of no. All right, perfect. So in solving one-step equations, there's 3 processes or 3 steps that we want to do. So the very first thing when you're given an equation is you want to get the variable alone by itself on one side. So the variable can be any letter. Y and X are probably what we're the most used to and common to see. And so to do that, we have to use the inverse operation. So you guys just told me in the warm-up that the opposite of addition is subtraction, right? So whatever we do to one side, though, we have to do to both. All right, so if we multiply or if we subtract on one side, then we're going to subtract on the other. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do one problem together, and then you guys are going to do one by yourself, okay? All right, so let's move to the next slide. All right, so here is our example for today. So we're going to solve just a one-step equation by using the inverse operations that we've been talking about. So you guys can see we have a plus sign here on this side. So what inverse operation do we need to do to get this X by itself? So let me see. Killian, can you tell me what do you think that we need to do to get this X by itself?
Subtract 5 from both sides.
Okay, let's see if you're right. Perfect. You're exactly right. Okay. Yes. Great job. All right. So when we subtract 5 from both sides, that's going to leave X by itself. But remember, when we subtract 5 from one side, we have to do it from both, right? So 12 minus 5, anybody want to unmute and tell me what that is? Let's see. Rye, will you do it for us? What is 12 minus 5?
7.
Yes, perfect. All right, so now we can see that X equals 7, okay? Pretty simple one-step equation here, right? Does anybody have any questions on this slide before we move forward where you guys are going to try one by yourself? Any questions? I see a lot of no's. Okay, perfect. We're going to go on. Now we're going to do an independent practice, okay? So here's our equation. You guys are going to have 1 minute to solve this one all by yourself, and I'm going to start this awesome timer here, okay? And so I want you to hold your answers until the end of the timer, and then we will put them in the chat like we've been doing, okay? All right, so your time starts now. And you guys can work it out on a piece of paper, or you can do it in your head, whatever you guys want to do. So this one's a little different. This time we have subtraction in our equation, right? I like Teddy's dancing to the beat there. Two, one. I'm just going to stop it before we get to an ad. Perfect. Okay, so now I would love for you guys to put your final answers into the chat. Ready? Go. Perfect. Oh, Killian even explained it there, how they got the answer. Okay, so let me see. Let's see. Who haven't I called on too much today? Let's see. Teddy, can you explain to me, since you were jamming to the music so much, can you explain to me, how did you get your answer of 23?
I used the inverse operation of subtraction, and I added 8 to both sides to get 23.
Perfect. Yeah. So because we have subtraction in our equation, the opposite of subtraction, of course, is addition. So that's why I said it's a little tricky because it's the opposite of what we have done so far. So instead of subtracting, right, 8, you're going to add 8. So plus 8, and thus the y gives you 23. Okay. So great job. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do a little bit of an interactive activity on a whiteboard. So I have shared that link with you in the chat, and I would love for everybody to pull that up on your own screen, and we're going to head over to that whiteboard. All right, great. So hopefully you guys have all used that link in the chat to navigate to our whiteboard. So what I would love for you guys to do is add a response here. And what I want you guys to answer is tell me one thing that you have learned today about solving one-step equations. So remember to add to the whiteboard, you'll click on the little plus button in the bottom right, and it'll pull up a little box. You'll add your answer and then hit the publish button, okay? I'll give you guys about a minute or so to do that. And I think I will refresh to see some answers hopefully popping up. I can see you guys working here at the top. Thank you very much for working on it. Perfect. Great. See a couple of answers. So Logan mentioned that you have to isolate a variable so that you can use the inverse operations. Perfect. So that also goes, of course, not only with subtraction and addition, but multiplication and division as well. Teddy, great. And great job, Remy. I think I'm waiting on maybe just a couple of more. Perfect. Wonderful. And maybe one more, I think. All right, let me refresh just to be sure. All right, Remy, will you unmute and kind of tell me a little bit about what you put there?
Okay, so what I took away from the lesson is that to isolate a variable, you can use the inverse operations, and that like the most commonly used variable is x and y.
Perfect. That's exactly right. Great job. Thank you guys for participating in that whiteboard. I love the round of applause that's going on in the background there. Thank you guys so much. All right, so I'm going to navigate back to I'm going to stop sharing for just a second and navigate back to our wrap up. Okay. You guys just give me thumbs up if you guys can see the PowerPoint again. Perfect. All right. So for homework, I want you guys to go and do your practice problems numbers 1 through 5 in topic 1. That will keep you up to date and on pace with the class. And before you leave today, I want you to drop in the chat one real life situation where you might use algebra or these inverse operations in real life. What is an example of where that could possibly happen? Okay, so go ahead. You don't have to wait on me to say go. You can start putting that into the chat. I will give you guys a good example. I have a real life example. I have a daughter who's actually a diabetic. And so she uses the inverse reactions equations every single day by calculating her insulin numbers. So that's just one real life example of where you might use this in real life. I don't know if anybody else has a similar example, but perfect. How much money you have left after shopping. I like that. Logan, you want to unmute and tell us about that?
You can use algebra to help calculate how much money you have left after shopping for food.
Perfect. Yep. Or even maybe like sales, right? If there's some sort of discount, you can use that to help you figure out what kind of discount you're going to get. That might be something I would do quite a bit. All right, Logan, so you have completed your exit ticket. You are free to go whenever you would like. And then Killian, thank you. Medication, that's a great one too. Yeah, good job. Yeah, I like that, Remy. Excellent idea. In sports, recipes. Yes, Teddy, great job. Perfect. Yes. Great. Finances. Yeah, that's exactly right. Lots of different ways that we can use algebra in real life. Okay. All right. So I want to thank you guys for joining our class today. As a reminder, we will meet again this week. Check that syllabus for what we'll be doing, and don't forget to do your homework. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Bye.